Getting into volume 12 of Overlord is the volume that I feel like is where the stakes really start ramping up. Throughout the series of Overlord, we've definitely had some high moments and some quieter moments, and really with the previous volumes, we've kind of been getting that slow setup. We've been seeing and hearing some of the stuff going on, Demi putting things in motion, him going out to the Holy Kingdom, and him stepping out on the center stage and really showing his power. And that's the one thing that I've always been looking forward to, is seeing Demi in a more proactive action role. Yes, we've seen stuff with him and Momon doing their sort of sparring, but we never get to see any of his actual abilities other than just him getting his different forms out, the claws out, and him just fighting, you know, raw, bare 1v1. But even then, that's all acting. I really was looking forward to, and this is what I loved about this volume and the next volume, and just seeing Demi really show a more power focused role, stepping out on the center stage and really just showing off what he is capable of. And I look forward to seeing even more of that with bigger challenges that could arise for him. But really this volume sets off quite simplistic. You know, it starts off with Nir's father, sort of a bit of a background history of the Holy Kingdom, the things that go on, sort of some of the Demi creatures that are, you know, out there. Like I said, world building. There's some interesting stuff. There's definitely some interesting hints at possible new stories that could arise from that. And then of course the demon army approaching, which is of course Demi's army, that is just really ramping up the stakes. You know, they steamroll through, and seeing some of what Demi can do, some of his 10th tier spells, the abilities of him being able to command these soldiers is just an absolute treat. You know, one thing I will note is that I was never a fan of Demi in the early volumes. I didn't find him interesting. But he is a character that has grown on me so much. I went from being meh about him to just absolutely loving him. I just get hooked every moment I get to see him on the center stage, because he's just a character that has so much potential for doing something unique on that center stage. Because when you look at the other characters like Jaldabaoth, Albedo, they are very power focused, they are very powerful. Demi doesn't have as much power. He's utility based, he's got some interesting summoning abilities. He is the perfect general, and that's what I want to see. I want to see full outright wars of demons and humans and different races all fighting. I want to see some actual war, and this is that first major step that I really, really love. And so getting back into what I mentioned before, you know, with Nir's father and then him dying sadly because of everything that goes on, it kind of sets up Nir and entering that center stage and how she plays out, and understanding that the mother's kind of gone a little bit, you know, in her own direction, the father dying, kind of a bit more of an adventurous individual, and just some of the information about the Sorcerer Kingdom, how it's been established, how Ainz is impacting that rippling effect. Of course, you know, rumors spread, you know, when a kingdom's established like that, obviously information is going to slowly leak between kingdoms, and then the trickle effect down to just the common folk. And so it's interesting to see how that impacts people's opinions, people's interests in possibly wanting to go there. That I find interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing some adventurers going there and getting some interesting jobs. And then of course with the attack on the city, you know, they've got to deal with Demi and these particular sisters, and I'm going to shorten her name down to Rem because I'm not going to say the full name over and over and over again and get tongue-tied. But Rem, hate her. I'm just going to be upfront. I hate her. I absolutely hate her to death, and that is generally the point of that, is to hate her. And that's what I love about her as a character. I love her as a character because I hate her, and the writer did a brilliant job at making this character. But you know, with the particular group that it is, you know, Rem, and of course the queen, or the holy individual that is sort of leading that particular part of the kingdom, what I found interesting is just Demi's choice of weapons. Let's just meme that a little bit more. We all know that's a year-old meme, so it's almost at its anniversary. We're gonna say it. Holy Queen, best club. Like, I love the way Demi really is just messed up. He is 50 shades of messed up with that lovely tuxedo and that smug smile on his face. He comes up with new creative ways to mess with the opponent and really show terror. That is brilliant in itself, because it shows really just how evil and vicious Demi can be and how manipulative he can be. He knows how to get the right response. You know, cutting off her head or just killing her would have been one thing, or just throwing her body around and then being like, oh well, that's disposed. Instead of that, he uses her body as a weapon, which is pretty much using her body as a hostage. It's just interesting to see how Demi can really strike terror into the opponent. Though of course what he's done is pretty damn horrible. I enjoy seeing a villain being played out quite well, and I think Demi really knows how to act that role out really well, and that's what I love about this volume. He plays his role perfectly. He has scripted this event. Ainz generally is just winging it, and that's pretty much on the script. It's just, you know, Demi will adapt to how you end up winging it, and it's Ainz going, what am I meant to do here? But them playing out the events is what's really fun, because Demi is there to play the villain and make Ainz the hero. This downside though is Rem is an asshole. Even though yes, this is a giant act and technically Ainz is a bad guy as well, we all know that. What I found kind of funny is just, yes, we know that, but Rem just is so self-absorbed. She's narcissistic, she's, you know, selfish. And as soon as she gets this option of getting help, you know, she wants Momon, she wants Blue Rose. Blue Rose says no, they recommend Momon. She goes to the Sorcerer Kingdom to get Momon. Ainz says no, but then Ainz is like, you know what, I'll go out there and help. And at the start, she's very hesitant. And then she's like, yeah, all right, fine, we'll do it. He's undead. Who cares about him? If they both die, it's a win-win. That's the kind of thing I hate about Rem, is that someone is trying to help her, no matter the race. Let's just put aside the fact that Ainz is undead. This is a king, a powerful sorcerer king, trying to help someone else. And all she cares about is what she can get out of them. And out of him. It reminds me a lot of volume 11 with the Dwarf Kingdom and how they were kind of trying to use Ainz to get what they can out of him, and then him kind of playing them well. Ainz in this situation plays them well. As much as I do have a bit of sympathy for the Holy Kingdom, because of course Ainz and Demi are using this situation to really wreak havoc, I still hate Rem because I feel like she's just so arrogant and annoying. There's just so much ego built in her. Like everything is about her feeling like she is somehow better. I almost feel like she wants the war, but she wants it to be done in a way so it makes her look good. That's the thing. Like, as long as everything went her way, she wouldn't care how many innocent people die, as long as she looks good. But then at the same time, there's that whole situation where the demons are using humans as hostage, and then she's, you know, constantly saying, withdraw, you know, let them have the way, and then they, you know, kill the kid and then they pull another kid out. And it's just this constant vicious circle of ideology, you know, oh, we can't, you know, take these demons out because they're holding a hostage, but they just killed one and now we're going to pull another one out and use the exact same situation and just keep cycling through. They're letting unnecessary deaths happen because of their indecisiveness, and that's kind of what Ainz is doing. He's undermining them. He's making them look like idiots because they're allowing their emotions and their morals and their sense of justice cloud what they should be doing. They should be fighting for the greater good rather than the individual. And I understand that, you know, every life matters, you know, everyone is important in some degree, but when you're at war, in war there are no winners. There's just someone that lost more and someone that lost less. In this situation, they've got to sort of count their casualties and try and minimize it, but understand that there are always going to be casualties. And that's the problem. That's the thing that Ainz sees, and that's the thing that Ainz is trying to point out, is logical thinking that at the end of the day, you're at war. You're going to lose soldiers. You're going to lose villagers and innocent civilians. You need to know that and account for that and try to minimize it, but understand that that's going to happen no matter what. Sacrifices have to be made. And that's what I find really interesting, is this whole philosophical debate. It's really fascinating, it's really interesting, and I wonder what was in the mindset of the author, because there's definitely a lot of heated debates about it. But personally myself, I'm that kind of person that can have fun debating different ideas, and that's what I really love about this light novel, is that Ainz goes into this and sort of shows a very much more logical, cold-hearted approach. And I don't even think it's cold-hearted, I think it's just very logical. But of course the Holy Kingdom, or Rem in this particular scene, really doesn't like that. She doesn't like being undermined, she doesn't like being looked at lesser, and she kind of feels like she needs to be shown as best and always right. At the same time, Nia, this poor girl, is trying to do her best. She's trying to help them as much as possible. She's got a really nice rune weapon, if you see what Ainz is trying to do there, Salesman 101. Failing so far, might I add. But you know, he's trying to get sort of a bit of a bonding with Nia. I love the part where Nia's always frowning and Ainz just thinks she's always angry. I look forward to her using that bow. Obviously, no too many spoilers there, but she is definitely going to be using that bow, and I look forward to that. Another thing that I also just want to quickly note on as well was before the incident sort of with them recruiting Ainz, the one thing I really kind of found funny was them approaching the city. The way they were in so much disbelief, you know, the Death Knights are, you know, patrolling the city. I find it very clever how they introduce them to the city. They show them the Death Knight, everyone's like really shaken up, and then they see other creatures and they're like, oh, well that's not as bad because I saw a Death Knight. I do like the way they try to normalize this whole situation with them going in there, but what I loved is the ghost ship. Because it was mentioned in a previous volume slightly about a ghost ship, and I really love the ghost ship. I want to see it in an anime form, or at least some form of artwork done officially of the ghost ship, and I also just want to see it more in general. Because I just love the crazy weird things that are going on in this Sorcerer Kingdom, that's almost like the impossible happening. And I also like the way Ainz is showing a more human side to Nia. The bonding between Ainz and Nia is quite nice. And Nia, as I said before, is really trying hard to do the best she can with the situation handed to her. And as much as she's trying to help Ainz, she's trying to help the Holy Kingdom really just mistreat her. They just distrust her, they don't care. Again, as much as they do this whole self-righteous, oh, we're all about the people, we're trying to protect everyone, I feel like it's more about them feeling like they're doing something noble and important, but it's less about them trying to do something noble and important and them trying to put themselves on a pedestal to make themselves feel like they are better than others. And a quick little tidbit of fun little trivial information, Ram is actually based on a colleague that the writer works with. So yeah, imagine just how annoyed you are with Ram, and imagine how that poor writer feels every day he's got to go to his office job and put up with that woman. I truly have sympathy for him because that woman annoys me straight away. Reading it the second time, she still annoys me. If not, she annoys me more. So again, love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you like about this volume? What are your favorite parts? I feel like this volume really focuses a lot more just on sort of the establishment of them, you know, setting up the Holy Kingdom, them going to the Sorcerer Kingdom, Blue Rose and some of the stuff going on there, some of the interesting information shared about Ainz, trying to work out stuff about Demi mostly, and then them going to the Sorcerer Kingdom, and then the things that transpire, and then of course the big fights going on at the Holy Kingdom. As much as this volume is very meaty in its size and the contents, it's very much focused around the fight itself, and the second volume after this one is very much similar in that it focuses mainly on these areas. So again, love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more anime content, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.